Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today, not really entirely sure why, don't ask me, but I suspect we're going to be doing a lot of colouring. So, another puzzle, another 95% rated, 1-star difficulty rated puzzle, as of the time of recording, and it's from, I'm going to say DarthSillious72, I guess a bit of a play on Darth Sidius. But hopefully this is a force of good instead of a force of evil, as depicted with the many colors. Really looking forward to today's puzzle because it's got a few variants I actually really immensely enjoy playing with. Admittedly, I'm not necessarily the best with it, so we could be in for a bit of a tricky time. Anyway, let's give it a good go with today's puzzle. I just like colors. So rules wise, let me just check first. Yeah, that's visible. Excellent. We've got normal Sudoku, we've got chess, kings, and knights move have to have different digits. Got orthogonally adjacent cells cannot be consecutive, and we've got black crop key dots with the negative constraint. I think for all of you, you know what that means, but normal Sudoku, place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, every 3x3 box, no repeats of the digits 1 to 9 once each. Cells separated by a chess, kings, or knights move must contain different digits. If that cell is a 2, well, that would be a chess knight move, that kind of L shape. Of course, that is another valid one, as is this one. So you can see none of these cells, which are a chess knights move away, obviously the same ones in the box as well, could be a 2, but plus Sudoku, so not in the same row, not in the same column, not in the same box, plus king's move. And obviously the king is any sort of adjacent cell, including diagonals. So you end up with a humongous amount of the puzzle that you just cannot place similar digits in. Then we've got consecutive. I kind of messed up the last one, so I'm kind of glad it's back again. It just means that cells that are orthogonally connected, such as these two cells, could not be consecutive. 3 is consecutive with 2. That is not allowed. Last but not least, I couldn't place a 2 with a 4 in here because of black crop key dots. Black crop key dots, essentially one cell is double the other. So if this is a 2, this would be 1 or 4. But negative constraints do apply. So that is a 4 where it is in a 2 to 1 ratio and there is in the black dot. That is not allowed under today's rules. So I'm genuinely surprised that this is 1 star. At the same time, I'm kind of going to make the assumption that despite what could sometimes be tricky and complicated rule sets, when fused together, that this is going to be a bit of a breathe for it to receive that 1 star. Anyway, as always, to play along, link in the description down below for you to do so. With that said, let me restart the clock, see how I get on. And we're coloring. That is the name of the puzzle. So let's do something. So basics first. Black crop key dot digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8. 5, 7, and 9 can never be on a black crop key dot because half of 5 is 2.5. Double of 7 is 14, a 2-digit number, so these are not allowed. When you have a run of 3, and I know it's a run of 3, these two cells cannot be the same because they're a king's move apart, then you know that you have to have from, essentially, you could have something that looks like this. I'm guessing I've got some kind of checking on. Essentially, powers of 2 and then the 3 and 6. So if you have it 3 digits, it's got to be 1, 2, 4 or 2, 4, 8, and it clearly cannot be 3, 6, and 3 again because it would break the rules. So all of that to say that this is 2, 4. This is 1, 2, 4, 8, as is this cell, and that all of these are going to be different colors. Kind of regretting the choice of colors already. I feel like I probably should start in box 5. It has like a lot more going on here. Let me just remove the colors for a second and let's focus on this because I think these are all different. Let me explain that. Let's color this purple. Purple clearly is not in the same box, not in the same Sudoku, not in chess knight's move, not in the same box, not in a chess knight move. So all of these are different from purple. Let's go purple and blue. This is clearly different. Let's go green. Again, this is clearly different. It's not purple, it's not blue because that's king's move, and it's not green. So let's go yellow. That is not blue or green or yellow. It could be green. Could also be a brand new cell or green. How many, let's just think. We've got 6 colors. So technically it could also be red. So I'm going kind of a bit quickly there. You know, all of these digits. Essentially, I am allowed 6 different colors. There's 4 of them I've already placed. This one sadly could be a repeat of green, but it could be the other 2 colors I haven't placed. This cell actually, same thing. It's not purple, blue, or green, but it could be yellow. So this is yellow or red and orange. And again, interestingly, none of these are purple. And this one is not blue. And this cell is either yellow, it's not green, it's not blue, it's not purple, or it's orange. And yeah, I'm really tempted to actually not use colors, but to use letters. The other box that's interesting is box 3. Because, you know, you can see 4 of them, 5 of the black crocky dot digits. And this cell, admittedly, could be a repeat of these 2. So no, I'm going to keep going with colors for now. And try and remember the pairings I've already placed. The challenge, of course, that we have is that 1, 2, 4, and 8, there are 2 digits in all of this that can have multiple pairings. So essentially, you know, if this is green, this will always be yellow because the 3 can only ever go with the 6. The 6 can only ever go with the 3. 1 and 2 is the same. 8 and 4 is this, but the 2 has 2 pairs and the 4 has 2 pairs. So that's just something we need to keep in mind as we're coloring this, that essentially one of these colors is somewhat unique in the sense that I can't repeat it. You know, purple and blue will always go together for the 3s and 6s, for example. And the 1s and 8s are also going to always have a unique pairing. Where I'm going with this, kind of hold fire for a second, is I really don't think this could be 2, 4. I just don't see it. And why am I saying that? So if this is 2, 4, remember, neither of these could be 2 or 4. So this would have to be 3, 6. This would have to be 1, 8. And really, the only way I can make this work now is 3 6s. Because you see, this couldn't be 2, 4. This couldn't be 2, 4. Admittedly, this could be the blue 2, 4. So I can kind of get away with a blue 2, 4 here and a 1, 8. But these cells couldn't be 2, 4. So it would have to be a 3, 6 pair again. Is that remotely helpful? I don't think it is in the slightest, really. Reason I'm sort of this side quest that I'm on is I'm trying to get a sense of the interactions of all of these black crocky dots. There's a huge number, as you can see, towards the right-hand side of this puzzle. And you see this 1, 8 and this 1, 8 is different. Therefore, this would have to be blue. This would have to be purple. Purple would have to be up here, which is fine. Blue is clearly, actually, well, this couldn't be a 3, 6 pair. So it'd have to be blue. And there you go, it breaks. Because this black crocky dot pair couldn't include a purple 2-4. The reason I sort of colored this purple, I sort of jumped this a bit quickly, is essentially if this is 1-8, this would have to be 2-4, and it couldn't be the purple one, so it would be the blue one. And then because this 1-8 sees this 1-8, well, this would have to be 2-4, and because it's a different 1-8, it would have to be the other 2-4. Now, obviously, this didn't have to be 1-8. It could have been the other 3-6. No, definitely not what I wanted to do. Thank you. So yellow's not here, yellow's not there. Yellow is in one of these 3 cells, which interestingly, whichever one is yellow, this is not yellow. Because, you know, it would see it either with Sudoku or with anti-knight move. Then we have probably something very similar going on with green. Interesting, yes. You see, green cannot be any of these cells. King's move, Sudoku, chess knight. So one of these has to be green. In fact, I'm actually going to just stop coloring these for a second. Not very useful coloring them. One of these 2 is green. Which also means this can't be yellow. Whichever one is green, we know that they pair up, and there is no black Kropke dot here. So that can't be yellow. This can't be yellow. This can't be yellow. Yellow is up here. Yellow is in one of these 3 cells. Now, because yellow's in one of these 2, this cell sees it with king's move and chess move. So that cell is out. It's one of these 2. Now, of course, well, it doesn't have to be, you know, again, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is not 3-6 pair necessarily. So a yellow in here doesn't force this to be green just yet. We don't know that for certain. Fascinating. Because one of these is green. Okay, so green is not here. Green can't be there because it's either Sudoku / king's move or anti-knight, regardless of which one I pick. So none of these are green. Leaves it in one of 2 cells, which is not brilliant. Let's think about blue for a second. Blue is none of these. Blue is in one of these 2 cells. Purple is none of these. Not here, not here. Can't be in the middle. We've already established that with Sudoku. Let's play this a bit for a second. Purple's not here, not here, not there. So it's sort of joining the same corner as the green down there, which I am going to add. Too far away for blue to interact, really. Right, so this cell, I generally don't see a problem with this being yellow and green. The alternative, if it's not yellow, is obviously this would be orange-red. This could be orange-red. It's not yellow because yellow's in one of these 2 cells, so none of these are yellow. We should play around with that again. Yellows are here. So I'm going to say none of these could be yellow. This cell either sees it with Sudoku or chess, knight's move, Sudoku or chess knight, Sudoku or king's move, or just king's move. So none of these are yellow. Neither is a cell, king's move, knight's move. So yellow is sort of like in here. No yellow, no yellow, no yellow, no yellow. Yellow's in there. No yellow. Again, because of here. No yellow. Let's explore this a bit, sorry. Not entirely sure what's going on. I think it's just worthwhile seeing where yellow could be. Now this cell sadly can be yellow because, you know, I could get away with the yellow in here. So this is just a huge waft of places that could be yellow. I don't want to pencil mark that. Remember how I said this combination of rules can sometimes be tricky? And therefore I'm surprised that it's 1 star? Yeah, color me surprised. Purple, not here. Not there. Too many places. It's just all too many places. I think, okay, I'm going to say it out loud. And then I'm going to explain what I'm thinking about. I'm also trying to think about kind of the negative space. The negative constraint, we haven't really played around with it that much just yet. So what do I mean by that? I know that with these paired up, no, that's not true. I can do something like a 2-4, 3-6, and then the 1-8 are clearly could be adjacent. I was going to say that there is a black Kropke dot pair that can't be adjacent, but that's not true, sadly. We know that this is not green, sorry, yellow, green, or blue. So this is purple or orange and red. This is also not green or yellow. I keep doing that. Yellow or green. Nothing stops it from being blue. I mean, it interacts a bit here, but that's not necessarily problematic. And nothing stops it from being orange or red. Now, if it's purple, which it could be, I don't think it's a problem, because purple could be pairing up with a different color like orange or red. And then we kind of think about purple for a second, where we've eliminated all of these as choices. And if any of these are purple, essentially it kind of restricts purple to this black Kropke dot pair here. Just don't know. Too many choices. Might need to just keep coloring everything. I mean, even as I say that, you could hear it in my voice that I'm not that keen. I'm just going to end up with a miasma of colors. I'm not going to be able to see anything. Kind of like that painting in the thumbnail, really. This can't be green. If this is green, that would be yellow, and there's no black crop dot. So that's green. These are not greens. There's a green in here. Now green is either with yellow or with, I mean, to be fair, it could also be purple. We know it's not blue. It's not purple, so it could be orange or red. Right, now this is starting to really have a bunch of interactions now, isn't it? You can see that I've got 3 cells that have a bunch of orange reds. Unlikely. Well, definitely not possible, let alone unlikely, but it's not quite enough. And whatever this cell is, we know it's not these, we know it's not here, we know it's not kings or chess knights move away. It will be in there. Interesting, but not interesting enough. The fact that the greens and yellows are kind of next to one another obviously leads me to think green and yellow would be the easiest explanation, or they're in some sort of diagonal, and this one is a 2-4 paired up with something different, or green and yellow. So no greens, no green. No greens, no green. Green is in one of 3 cells. Go with it. Which means none of these could be green. A green in here, right? Right. Yeah, let's focus on box 3. Green cannot be any of these. It's not here because of chess knight. To be fair, it could be up there. But essentially, we've got these cells as possible greens. Now, this tells me this is not green, because it will see it either with Sudoku or chess knight. So green is essentially being restricted to these 3 cells. And then a yellow-green pairing here feels very likely, and then it would almost certainly force this to be green-yellow. Almost. Now, green, not here, green is one of 2 cells, which means this is not green. Chess knight says this is not green. Green is down, and actually, because of this, green is in here, which removes this as being green. Again, green-yellow as a pairing feels very appropriate. This is not actually... So this is not green because obviously it sees all 3 cells. If this is green, this would be green, this would be green. That's fine. And we know definitively it's a 2-4, okay. Meaning that it can have more than one neighbor color. I've gotten reasonably far with placement of greens. I don't exactly want to stop here. I want to see if I can deduce more. Challenge is all of these are valid greens. Actually, I don't think this is, because it could see both of them. So actually, no. Green is now restricted. This cell, king, chess. This cell, Sudoku, knight move. And then these, again, Sudoku, knight move. So none of these are greens. We're restricted in here. Not green, not green, is green, is green. Very likely this is yellow. Obviously, if this is green, it'll be 2-4, and it doesn't have to be. Right, let's think about this last box in terms of greens. So no greens, no greens. Way too many options on the table. All of this could be green. Not brilliant. Yellow. Not yellow as well, because yellow in here sees all of these yellows with Sudoku, and this one with chestnut's move. Not yellow. Yellow is in one of these 4 cells. So one of these 2 in row 2, kind of reduced to that much. So yellow, it's none of these. Can't be this one because it's king slash knight move in box 5. So yellow in column 3 is not here. It's not there. Has to be up here. So now these are yellow. Can't be in the middle here, because then it would be surrounded by green, but no black crocky dots. No, too far away. Yellow could be in a lot of places still. 5 cells to be specific. If this is yellow, one of these is yellow, and therefore no yellow, no yellow, no yellow. I still get away with 1 of 3 cells. You see, the challenge that I have is I've done nothing with orange and red. If I feel a little bit more confident about placing some of them, I'd make some progress. And the fact that the black crocky dot here could be blue, purple doesn't help because it doesn't place these 2. Too far away for me to do anything meaningful with blue here. One, two, three, 4 black crocky dot digits. I've been at this for 25 minutes. Haven't placed a single digit. Yeah, I'm going to take a break. Yeah, grab lunch, do other things, come back. See you in a bit. Hit pause on the recording. Well, pause on the gameplay. Right, took a bit of a break. Let's see if we can pick this up. Now, of course, you spend a bit of time thinking about kind of the puzzle whilst you're on a break. And I've kind of changed my mind. I think what I'm going to do is use some letters just for clarity, just to help things along a little bit in my mind. And see if I can make, I mean, goodness me, any progress at this point. Now we're also going to label this as D. Let's try that again. D, E, or F. A C can only ever go with D, E, or F. So technically, there isn't a white slash in here. Now, if these two are the same, we'd force whatever this cell is to be up here, which is actually totally fine. Yeah, so far so good. Okay. Now, nothing stops this from being A. Could also be B. It's not C. Could be D, E, or F. So basically, it's anything but C. And the thing is, it's anything but C again, except it's not A. So it could be B, not C. It could be D, E, or F. And I really do think we need to sort of crack whatever's going on in here. Notice that yellow's not there because there's green in here. So yellow, whichever one is there, would have to be connected with a black crop dot, which is not there because of the negative constraint. So no Ds, no D, no D. D is in one of these 5 cells. No D. I'm going to say this D sees all of them, and yes, it does. So no D, no D. That's kind of the end of it. Actually, this can't be a D either, because it would see them with Sudoku, with King's Move, and with Knight's Move. I'm going to say it's the same in here. Sudoku, King's Move, Knight's Move are the diagonal this time, though, catches it out. So D is in essentially one of these cells. Now, C is none of these, and that's about it. Not brilliant. We need to make progress with the others, the A here. I think we've concluded, no, this could be yellow, we said. It wouldn't be any of these, so this would have to be yellow, this would be yellow, couldn't be yellow, would be yellow. Would force yellow in here, which fits. Yeah. Only thing we can say for yellow is it's none of these. And seemingly all of the rest is fair game. Yeah. No Bs. It's just such a challenge with some of the others. So no B, no B, and no B. B and C are not connected. We know that for certain because they're adjacent here, but not with a black crop dot. So B is in one of these 3 cells. Let's just push this as far as we can. No B, because it would see all 3. But B in all 4 of these cells is fine. No B, no B, no B. Again, B in all 4 of these cells is fine, and it's mandatory in one of these 4 cells. Which also, once again, means none of these are Bs. because again, they would see all four. This cell would see Sudoku, King's Move, Knight's Move. So no Bs, but all of these are fine. What about A? A is sort of interesting. A couldn't be down here because you can see A couldn't work there because it would be connected to a B without black Kropki dot. So knight move. Sadly, these three could be A. Which means neither of these are A's. Sudoku, King's Move, Sudoku, Knight Move. It's not really enough. No A, no A. Too many options for A. So if this is A, if this is A, if this is A, this is B. If this is A, doesn't force this to be B. And of course, if this is A, that's B. Too many options again. Let's carry on with these negatives to some degree. So we said, could this be a B? Yes, it can be. B is hardly restricted in box 8. This is not B, sees all of them. In fact, neither of these could be B, nor here, nor there. Here, knight move, king's move, Sudoku. There, we kind of went through the same one. So none of these are B. None of these are B. Not B. So B is down to one of 3 cells in row 7. I really want to pencil mark this. This is B, that's B. None of these, not this, not this. So it'd have to be 1, 2, 3, 4. One of these 2. One of these 6. Well, it would be here, because it would be none of these, none of these. So it would be one of these 2 cells, which would remove all of these as options, would force it to be B here, would force it to be B there, would remove B here, would essentially, if this is B, it's forced across the entire grid. This is D, not D, not D, and therefore not D's. D would have to be one of these 2 cells. We've already established no D's, no D's. And if it's one of these 2, it's neither of these. So it'd essentially be something as such. Don't know. What I think I have to do to make any kind of, excuse me, progress is I have to pencil mark the possibilities for all the remaining black crocodiles. I don't think I can get away with not doing it. So A, E, F, A, B, E, F. We thought about this one earlier. Now, there's no B's in here allowed. Doesn't stop there from being an A. We just make A a 2-4 with one of E, F. So it would essentially be an A with an EF and then a B with an EF. So A, EF is a possibility, CD is a possibility, and then just EF is a possibility. Clearly not B. This cell here could be A, could be C. Some reason I said not D, and I don't entirely understand why. I can see how none of these are D, but I don't think D is restricted to these 4 cells because D here places D there. D. Yeah, I honestly don't see the problem. D, 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 and then it would have to be, because it wouldn't be any of these, it would be this cell, not this cell, not this cell. And then because of this D, this would be C, confirming C to be a 2-4, and therefore an EF. I mean, you can see so far it's not a problem. And then either the C is a 2-4 or one of the EFs if D is a 2-4. Yeah, I just don't know. Anyway, long story short, this could be D, this could be EF. Now, if it's A, it could be B or EF. If it's C, can't be D, it'd have to be EF. C is interesting because essentially we'd force C in here. Would it? No, C could still be there. Never mind. C couldn't be with D, would be EF. And then EF could go with EF, of course, but thing is we haven't established anything around E's and F's could be with B's, etc. or not. Now, could this be an A? I think the answer to that is yes. A with an EF. B is no, CD. So basically I'm ending up with all the options on the ones I haven't colored. It's not brilliant. I mean, not brilliant is understating it, really. So this is not green or yellow. So we've got 3 of A, B's, E's, and F's in here. And it's looking increasingly unlikely that this is not just a CD pair. Like, feels immensely unlikely at this point. The sad part, though, is it's not definitively not true. Let's think about A and EF for a second. I don't think this could be A anymore. So it would be essentially A with an EF, B with an EF, and then I've broken this cell. So there is no A as an option anymore. It's off the table. And B was off the table. So essentially it's either a CD pair or C/D with an EF or an EF pair. Now an EF pair doesn't work again, because then this would be AB, this would be AB again. So there is definitely a C or a D in here, and likely again, both. If we think about this for a second, if C is in here, C is there, and then C is down here, but it couldn't be there, it couldn't be there, it would have to be here, then here, there, and it's all good. What happens if C is in here? We would know the D is joined with an EF. Fine. So if C is there, let me think this through. If this is C, this is D. Because that couldn't be D. If this is C, could this be D? I think the answer to that is yes. So this isn't being forced to be a D. No C's, no C's. The fact that we've got 5 black crop dots, 4 only in box 5. Box 3 is the more interesting one. I'm kind of wondering if I should have actually started over here now. And it may be the case. This cell couldn't be either of these or that one. But of course it could be either of these two. Notice that the A and B have to be in different diagonals. Essentially, they're not here. So the A's and B's, actually no, the B could be up there. Never mind. All of these could be B. The only thing we've done is eliminate B in here because of this kind of quadruple. But B sadly could be in a ton of places. Yeah, we're back to the fact that B is in 1 of 3 spots in row 7. If this is B, that would have to be B. This would have to be B. B. is one of two cells. None of these could be B anymore. So it has to be one of four cells. Couldn't be any of these. It'd have to be this cell, meaning it's none of these, and then it breaks. Wow, that is very hard to see. There's got to be a better way. B here, so can't be B, isn't B because they don't have black rocky dots. B there, knight move and Sudoku. Sudoku forces B here, sees both of these options in row 7, comes there. And with B's here, it's essentially one of these two cells, actually specifically that one. So where is it in this cell? Well, it can't be either of these, so it would have to be this one. Then B, kind of eliminated from this row, can only be this cell. Then look at that. Now B is up here, which is problematic because that's not a B. That is not a B. And then it would have to be in there next to the C, which we've already proven it can't be. So not B, not blue, not blue. And therefore B's have to be all the way up here in row 7. And the rest of these are not B's. No B's, no B. We're left with this weird shape of B's. No B's. No B here. So let's see if I can eliminate a B in one of these two cells. What would happen with that? Well, this one couldn't be a B then. So it would be B, B, can't be B, one of these three. No B's here, no B's there. B in one of these four, forcing a B up here, forcing it in there, forcing it in one of these two. Forcing it in one of these two, therefore not that one. Yeah, that's fine. B here is obviously a lot more restrictive. It sees all of these. Sees that, sees that. Sees those. And then it breaks. This cell, basically, because B in column 3 is either here or one of these three cells. And this cell sees all of them. Therefore, not B. Then sees all of these. B is restricted in there. And then essentially, where is it in column 7? It can only be in here now. Can't be a B. Not at all what I intended to do that. Come on. Has to be B. Could be A, mind you. And B is in essentially one of these in column 3. Come back to that. These two see this cell, so that can't be B anymore. B is restricted to the lower group, so none of these are B. One of these two is. Not a B here either. It's one of these three, which means it's definitely on a black crochet dot. No B's, no B's. No B because it sees all three. So I'm left with B in this shape and this shape and one of these three cells. Can I force it at all? And the answer to that is no. No. Progress. So this is AEF again. AEF again. So the other AEF is connected to this cell, which is not a B. If this is A, so this can't be A anymore, no black crochet dot. If this is A, this would have to be B. We'll come back to that, but essentially A would go with an EF, and then another EF, and then essentially CD up here. But then, where is A in box, whatever this is again? Can't be next to the B. Remember, if this is A, isn't in here, isn't there, this cell sees all of this, and then we're done. So A is not an option in here anymore. C, D, E, F. Can I do the same with this cell? Probably, now that this is placed as a B, again, sees all of these, not A because of the kind of knight move, not A. So no A here either. So A is now restricted to these two cells, and therefore no A in here. A is restricted to these two cells, where essentially they're kind of on diagonals. This could be a white one, because of the B and A in here. Interesting. And then, where is A in column 3? Now that we've eliminated A as all, these were never A's. I should have been doing that much earlier. I know, these could still be A. For a second, I kind of mistook the fact that this is A and it's not. A could be in here. Anyway, A's there means no A's here in row 7, no A's here in row 7. A is in one of these three cells. No A, no A. Still too many places for A in box 3. No A. No A because it would be connected. Well, it could be here actually, A with a B. And then A with a B. Then A with a B again. What's wrong with this being an A? Because essentially no A's here, but A's could still be in one of these 4 cells. If I can restrict it to one row, that would be helpful. So what's wrong with A being there? That would be A. These would be A. This couldn't be any A anymore, so it would have to be one of these 2. And then look at it. It breaks in box 1. A would have to be one of these 3 cells, but it would always see one of these 2. This cell sees all of them. This cell sees all of them. So that can't be A. So A is restricted to row 3 here. meaning no A's. These two cells means no A here. Admittedly, A might be connected to a C. No A here. It's one of these three cells. A connected to a C thus far is not problematic. A, B is fine. A here. No B. No A. No A. Way too many options still. I mean, we're coming up to an hour and I haven't placed a single digit yet. That's how ridiculously difficult this puzzle has proven to be. Because I think I haven't been systematic about this. I've essentially been very opportunistic, jumping around. I keep saying I need to pencil mark all the black crop key dots, and then I keep avoiding it. Because, I come along and basically pencil mark every single option, and I have to spend 15 minutes to remove one option. It's just not right. Something's not. There's something about this puzzle I am not seeing. Let's put it that way. We've established a B and a C are never connected. So that being a B means that is definitely not a C. And therefore C is definitely on this black crop key dot. But more importantly, they line up in columns 8 and 9. So C has to be in here. And notice, not there, not there. This is C. And therefore this can't be B. Can't be on a black crop key dot. We established B is in here. Not B is B. Now, B's could be connected to a D. I don't think we've ruled that out. As far as I could tell. Not C. Is C? Is C. So C is definitely a 2-4 now. And starting to kind of whittle this down is very helpful, because it tells us which ones can actually be grouped with other colors. So we know that the C could definitely be connected to a yellow or another one. Sadly, the only one that I know it isn't is B. It isn't A here, but it could be A there. It could be A here. So I can't rule out like any of them other than B. We also have not ruled out. So if C is 2-4, we know that B absolutely is not. So it's either the opposite 1-8 or it's a 3-6. 3-6 would be immensely helpful because it will tell me that all of these are 3-6s. B is never connected to C, so that's off the table. B is in one of these two cells, which means the B and the A are again on a diagonal. No B. Yeah, not a lot more I can do with B just yet. B cannot be a 2-4. We've just said that. Because C is definitively a 2-4. And therefore this cannot be 2-4, we require a black Kropke dot. And therefore it can never be connected now to a different color other than A. Wow. This is some voodoo, frankly. Not B, is B. In fact, A is here. Sorry. What did I just do? Yeah. A is definitely here. Wow. Right, let's just tidy up our colors for a second. So we know this is definitive now. And EF. Now C can actually be joined with another EF. Doesn't have to be D. We know that. We know that. Notice whatever this is not A, B, or C. So the 1, 2, 4, 8s, the other 1, 2, 4, 8s are D's, E's, and F's. Yeah, okay, so we said this is not 2, 4 because it would be connected, but nowhere do we have the C and the A touching. So thus far, we have not proven that the A is not a 2-4. Actually, we have. No, we haven't. No, three consecutive cells, 3 black Kropke dot digits, have to have both 2-4s because it's either 1, 2, 4, or it's, sorry, or it's 2, 4, 8. And now we know that this 2-4 and the other 2-4 are not A and B. So A and B are always 3 6s, which means that A is always paired up with B. And therefore, no B's is a B. And we're done with A's and B's for now. Ha ha ha. D's, for some reason, yeah, this is not D's. Yeah, can I eliminate D in here? I can't. For a second, I was thinking they line up in rows 8 and 9, but they don't. Notice how, oh no, never mind. In column 7, one of these is always a D. I think we can accept that. It's not these. For some reason, I don't want to go through the reason. Yeah, this D can eliminate all of these. This is next to C, so that's eliminated. So it's one of these two cells. Whichever one I pick, that's not D. However useful that is. This cannot be a D because it eliminates all of the options for column 7. So that is off the table as well. Reason I got excited is obviously if it lines up in rows 8 and 9, then this forces a D in here, which would be helpful, and then none of these are D. This would be D. This would be D. Then one of these, one of these. Can I eliminate this as a D now? It basically is saying that D is not the other 2, 4 if this is D. So D is one of 1, 2, 4, 8. We know that one of those EFs, at most one of those EFs, could be 2, 4. But what it tells me is I can't have an EF pair, because essentially, no, it could be. An EF pair is still possible. Where I was going with this is essentially the EFs are ones and 8s, but that is not true. So the A's and B's are done. What I think I need to do now is revisit the black Kropke dots that the C is connected to and give them options. Because we know for certain there are 2 different colors that could be connected to C, at most 2 different colors. And I'm not doing a good job differentiating between them right now. Interestingly, never mind. First, it's just I didn't see that D. I was going to say, whichever one is a C, this is a D. If that's C, that can't be D. If that's C, that can't be D. Not that it was ever an option. And therefore it's always down here, but obviously this could have been the D all along. So if this is C, that's C, that can't be D anymore. That would be D, D, C, C. Therefore D, 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 no, excuse me, because this D eliminates this D. So sorry, D, 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 D. And then, of course, I haven't been thinking. One of these is definitively a D. That's the trick, because we already established the 2, 4 is connected to a D. So one of these is a D. This is never a D. This is always a D, not D. Now, if this is C, that's not D. If this is C, that's not D. This is always D, not D, always D, always D. Not D, D, not D, not D, therefore D, therefore D. And then one of these, one of these. Problem is now, we know that the C's can be connected to E's or F's. So not helped here. Can I have an EF pair? Essentially, yes, I could do. My options now for this run of 4 digits, 1, 2, 4, 8, is D, C, EF, EF. That's one option. The other option is EF, D, C, EF. And the trick is to figure out how can I eliminate, how can I decide between these options? C is 2, 4. We've established. A and B are 3, 6. So this is, so eventually we're going to get onto that orthogonally adjacent cells cannot be consecutive. And then the fact that C is 2 or 4 means it can never be next to one of the A's or B's. Challenge is, I don't see it ever out there. So we know that this is 6. In fact, I am going to take a digit. You know, when it's like an hour 10 in, and you can get a digit, you get a digit. And you can get another digit, you get another digit. D cannot be 2, 4 because it'll be consecutive with, so it is D, C, E, F pair. 100%. And therefore, this is 1 or 8. This is 2 or 4. What's interesting is orthogonally adjacent cells cannot be consecutive. I'm wondering if it's forcing this to always be 8, 4, 2, because 1 and 2 cannot be consecutive. And I'm going to go with it. D is 8, C is 4, this is 2. Because I have 1 and 2 consecutive, I'm in trouble. Now, I have proven that this is not 2, 4. Therefore, it's not EF, D, C, EF, because the D is next to the 3. And for the reason I've just said, this is 8, 4, 2. Therefore, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. And I'm going with it, 4s, 4, 4. I should be able to do something with this now. No 5s, 5. No 7s, 7. 1, 9 pair. No 2s. No 2 because of the black Kropke dot. Oh, we've already established. Yeah, actually, hang on. Yeah, no 2 because of the 3. So 2 is in one of these two cells. 2 is in here. I'm going to color the 2 orange for the sake of argument. Therefore, not 2. Therefore, is 2. No 1s. 1. No 7s. Is 7. Up here, it could be 1. It's not 2, 3, 4. It's not 5. It's not 6. It's not 7. It's not 8. It could be 9. No, it's not 5. It's already in the column. So essentially, these are 179s, except that's not a 1. 179. What are the other digits I have? I have a 5, which can't be there. That's 5. This is 1 or 9. It can't be 7. So I have a 1, 9 pair. I therefore have 2, 5, 8 up here. Not 2, not 5, not 8. And therefore I have another 1, 9 and a 7. 7 can't be here, so that's 7, which tells me that's not 8, that's 2, that's 5, that's 8. This is another 1, 9. I'm going to color the 1, 9s, it seems, at the end. It's fine. (179). There's another 179 and a 2, which can't be next to the 3. So that's 2. This is not 1. This is 7 or 9. Therefore, no 8, no 8. Oh, yeah, 8's already placed. 6 is already placed. 5 is not here. 5 is in one of these two cells, not next to the 6, not next to the 6. So 5. And then 179's again. 7, 9 is a problem next to this 8, so that's 1. That's 7, 9. I have another 7, 9, which can't be next to the 8, so that's 7, 9 plus 2. Then I have another 7, 9, a 1, and a 5. No 5, no 5, 5. 179, except that's just not 7. It's not very useful. In the column again, no 7, 9s. So I need another 1 and 2. 2's not here. 2's not there. 2 is here. Then I have 5, which is not here. That's 5. Then I have a 179, not 7, 1, 9. You can see how you're going to end up coloring the 1, 9s. This EF is therefore 2 because it's not 1. So I know for sure that this is 2, and 1s cannot be consecutive. So that's definitely 4. That's definitely 4. This is now known. It's a 7. 1, 5, 9. Not 1, not 5, not 9, not 5 either. That's just 1. Therefore 9, therefore 5, therefore 1. This is not 2, therefore it's 8. And I need 5 and 9, which gives me, I didn't mean to do that, 7, 9, 7, not 1 or 7, 9, 1, 9, 1, 9, 9, 1, 9, not 1, can only be 1, 7. What do I need? I've done 6s, so I just shouldn't think about it. 7s and 9s again. So that's 9, that's 7, 1, 2, 7. I need a 1, 2, 7 and 9. No. 7, yes. 5 for the finish. It's an incredible puzzle. Sorry for the long pause. I'm just thinking, how could people have given this a 1-star difficulty? And my thought process is as follows. It took me a long time to jump to digits. Not realizing that this is 248 was just silly. I should have grasped that from the very beginning when I noticed that this is 2 or 4. Couldn't have ever been a 1. So this was always 248, and then I would have immediately been able to place the 4. And once I've kind of determined the 3 6s, so like I can see how this could be easier than my solve with a few different optimizations here and there. But in all honesty, I don't see how it could drop down to 1. So that is a very generous one. You know, this is at least 2 edging 3 in my opinion. Regardless, hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video. Definitely a tough puzzle, but I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.